Hey guys, welcome to Obsession Car Detailing. A quick video today, a review of sorts. We've got the brand new the Rupes wool pads here. A quick test to see how they compare to, for what has long been the industry standard, the microfiber cutting disc from Meguiars. Now there are a few different brands of microfiber cutting pads. CarPro makes some, they've got Meguiars, Rupes makes some as well, and there are various other ones. But the Meguiars ones have been, are probably the most popular, and it's what we use here almost every day for cutting and sometimes even polishing. Now from Rupes, from their information, they talk about their new wool pads and the benefits of the wool. One of the major benefits seems to be that they run a little bit cooler. We use wool a fair bit here sometimes. The purple Optimum wool pads, big fan of those for really aggressive cutting, especially in bumpers. Sometimes when microfiber doesn't cut it, but it doesn't finish as nicely. Now these pads are meant to cut and finish very well. So what we're going to be doing is on my M3 here, and we're going to be doing a test patch to see how the two compare. The paint is in pretty bad condition. I picked this car up, as some of you know, relatively recently. I've already polished the bonnet and wet sanded that and a few other things in preparation for PPF. I thought before we go and do the rest of the car, it's a good opportunity to do some testing of these new pads. I'm coming from a fairly, what's the word I'm looking for? No knowledge background in terms of I haven't used these before, so this is going to be as much a learning experience for me as it is for you. I'm going to be using Optimum Hyper Polish to test with. Now some of you are going to obviously say that, oh, that's wrong, why would you be using a polish with a cutting pad? Because I'm trying to be somewhat scientific here, and what I'm trying to do is measure the performance of the pad. Now to me, if I think about it for a while, if I end up using a heavy cutting compound, that to me is going to be telling me more about the cutting ability of the compound. So by using a nice polish, we're going to see what gets more cut, and this paint is fairly soft, so we should see what gives us a better finish. This will not be a definitive result because obviously results will vary depending on paint, but let's go ahead and begin and see what we're working with. To begin with, I've got some the hyper polish in a spray bottle. We're going to prime the pads. We're not going to be using hyper polish the way Optimum says to. The reason I'm using hyper polish is because it's water-based, got a long working time, very little dusting, and I find it's a kind of a great baseline to measure things off to keep the variables equal. So let's go ahead and start, and we'll start with the microfiber disc, and we'll be doing 2 passes. Of course, the more passes we do, the better. We'll get the better result that we get. But here, we're not trying to get a perfect result. We're purely comparing the results of the two. So let's go. So for the testing, I'm going to be using the Rupes Duetto. A couple of reasons. A, it's got a 5-inch backing plate. We're testing the 5-inch ones. B, it's a 12mm throw. So again, the bigger the throw, the faster cut you tend to get. So here, by limiting the rate of defect of material removal, we're going to be able to see a more true indication of the performance of the pad. This one here, seen better days, needs a new few bits and pieces, but it still works. I've actually removed the shroud from there. It's basically like doing the washer mod, but rather than spacing it out, I've just removed the shroud. You can also cut it back, I just ripped it off. This helps give it more free spinning action. So to begin with, pad on here, center it nicely. Now the way Optimum say to use primer polish or hyper polish, and the way that I use it most of the time is to actually prime the pad with ONR and then spray. I'm going to be using it in an unconventional manner, but again, this is for the purposes of testing the product. So I'm going to go 2 squirts, and it's important to prime the surface. Really work it all in there. And of course, I'm using a brand new pad here as well to keep everything equal. We've got nice, good coverage there. Now I'm going to do 1 squirt, and the way I do that usually is turn the machine on. And then as it's spinning round, spinning down, 1 squirt. Now I'm going to spread the polish. I'm just going to take this off actually. Spread the polish at speed 1, and then we're going to work at speed 3, doing 2 passes at slow arm speed and being sure to overlap all our movements. We've got the wool pad here now. Benefit here, like all Rupes pads, they have a centering hole in them. Makes it a lot easier, and apparently it's also for ventilation as well. And the fit is a lot better as well. So do that from there, make sure that's centered, done. Same sort of deal, I'll just spin the pad, 2 squirts, rub it around. Again, some of you might say this is not the correct way to do it, whatnot. I'm just trying to keep the experiment fair. Will reveal the strengths and weaknesses. And again, there we are. All right, speed 1 that we spread and speed 3 that we polish. Just wipe the car down with some eraser. Actually, I think this is Guion Prep in an eraser bottle. All right, let's take a close look and see if there is a difference. All right, so this here is the side that was done using the Meguiars disc. The improvement in just 2 passes is remarkable. I can't see any haze or micro-marring or anything like that. That could possibly be due to the fact that we're using a finishing polish. So maybe we should test it using a compound to see difference. Now, if we just go across the tape line, there you go. We've got before and after. Coming across to the wool, I mean, to be honest, it looks very similar. There are some deeper scratches that I can see there, which are more pronounced on this side compared to this side, but that could be a localized thing. Again, the 50-50, there is a substantial difference. So now let's actually try, maybe the next step is to try using a compound. But regardless, I'm very impressed with the wool pad. If I had to say, maybe the microfiber has a tad more cut, but maybe the finish in the wool is better. Who knows? All right, so we're going to try some compounding now. We're going to use Angel Wax Resurrection. It's one of my favorite compounds. This is a diminishing abrasive. It cuts hard, and on the vast majority of paints with microfiber, I do find it leaves a fair bit of micro marring, but it comes out very easily in the following step. As usual, we're going to prime the pad, apply 3 dots, and then we're going to polish. Here we're going to use do 4 passes to allow the compound adequate time to break down and do its thing, and then we'll do the other side of the wool again and see what is better. This has done a fantastic job of removing the defects. I can see a fair bit of haze, which is to be expected from microfiber, and this is relatively soft paint. Fantastic results. It'll be interesting to see how the wool compares to this. On the other side, and you can see that haze, that micro marring, but compare that to before, huge difference. Now if we go down to the wool side, there's also some micro marring and haze happening. All right, guys, experiment. I'll be honest, it did not align with my preconceived notions. from what we've been told about the wool versus the microfiber, the benefits of the wool would be heat management. The wool, you know, I did off camera, I did touch the panel, and the side with that was polished with the wool was definitely a lot cooler than the microfiber. So when you're doing a heavy compounding, that could definitely be useful. The pad itself, where have we gone? Just over here. I do like the fact, compared to the microfiber towel, the microfiber pad, that we've got the centering hole, and this pad did seem better balanced on the machine than this. Obviously it's made by Rupes, so it's designed to go with the machine and to balance on there. You can see they're both fairly caked up with material. Did I use too much there? Possibly. Again, this wasn't the be-all and end-all experiment or review. My final thoughts would be fantastic pad. It needs more testing. My gut feeling is that we could use this as a fantastic one step on harder paints with a finishing polish, but we could also use the microfiber as well. My gut feeling tells me that this would be quicker in some ways because you would need to blow it out less often compared to this. As you can see, that's completely caked up. This is also caked up, but I think we probably used too much on here. Again, to keep the experiment fair, what I did was use the exact same process on both of them. Generally speaking, you prime a microfiber pad, then you add your compound and polish. Generally speaking, with wool pads, you don't tend to prime them as heavily, or if at all. So that could be a factor there as well. I will come back and revisit this sometime in the future. I'll probably do a whole car with it and see how I go. But for the time being, I would say grab a couple of these, test them, see how you go. If I had to choose, if I could only have one, this or this, I would choose whatever's cheaper because the performance seems to be equal. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, subscribe, share, and all that other more reviews in the future. Thank you.